Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I think we're having a little technical difficulties here, but we're here, and I pray that we'll be here the whole time. Oh, we're just happy to be here today. I want to welcome each and every one of you and say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. My name is Leslie Montgomery, and you are tuned into LKM Kingdom Living, Leslie's Lessons Learned. And as we go forth today, I always like to say, when you look in the mirror, are you saying, is life worth living? Or are you saying, I'm grateful for who I am, who He's created me to be? And today I'm gonna say, and I look pretty good. That's what I want you to begin to sell yourself. You look pretty good, no matter how you feel. Sometimes we have to, what's it say, encourage ourselves. So when you look in your mirror, don't say, is life worth living? Don't be sad and depressed, because that's only the trick of the enemy. And he uses it against, especially us as women. Not they. I'm sure he uses it against men too as well. But it's like we was talking yesterday about competition, and a lot of times it's competition that makes us begin to question who we are when we look at someone else, when we see someone else going forth and we see someone else doing what they've been called to do. So then we question ourselves, we question what we do. And in the process of questioning what we do, we begin to see a lot of negative things. We don't see the positive. We don't say, girl, you are who you are. We begin to say, if I was this, or if I could do this. All these different reasons, all that you're going in and out. So I want to welcome everybody today. Try to see if I can get this internet. Um, I bet not mess with nothing going. But Mr. Wanda, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm really happy to be here.
Good. And you look so beautiful.
Thank you. And so do you.
Thank you. So, can we say what we usually say on Sundays?
Yes. Yes.
I think this is worth saying.
Absolutely.
And I want you to pat yourself. And I want you, if you're near a mirror, just look in the mirror and say, a life without me is like a world without color. You got to understand that color comes in many shades, and it makes things beautiful. And yeah, some of us have, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking about, yes, some of us have some real issues. Some of us have some things we really need to deal with and change, but that doesn't defect the fact that you were made beautiful. All that other stuff that's inside might need to be worked on so it can come out, so that they can see the beautiful in us. What James Cleveland used to sing, he took me and made something beautiful out of my life. And when he said he took a wrench like me, and I forgot the rest of the words. I'm always forgetting the song words, but that part I remember. He took me and made something beautiful out of my life. That's what he wants to do with each and every one of us. He wants to make something beautiful out of our lives. So, I was praying and thinking and saying, what we gonna call, what we gonna talk about today? And it was, when you were born with a purpose. And not only were you born with a purpose, you was born on purpose. And we're going to talk about that today. But Elder Wanda, take a moment and introduce yourself, please.
I'm going to get you right. Good morning. Good afternoon. It might even be evening in some parts of the world. My name is Wanda Floyd. I am the owner of WLF Academy and the Brains and Beauty Business Academy, where we teach beauty industry professionals and students how to do business better. I'm a mother, I'm an educator and trainer. I do some things in ministry, and I do have some things that are up and coming very soon in the month of September. We have a seminar that's entitled Apply Pressure. So you want to stay tuned for that. It will be available online, but if you can be in the building, I promise you're gonna want to be in the building because it's time for us to apply pressure.
Oh, we're gonna be in the house.
Yeah, we're gonna be in the house.
Wait, do we have a date yet? I gotta try to get
uh,
there.
just the
You
month of
working?
September, I got a solidified date, but it will be on a Sunday.
Oh, okay, okay. I gotta try to make it. I'd
Yes.
love to be there and support. So that sounds amazing to me. You know, back in May, I said that I was doing a workshop, and I have postponed it for the second time.
Apply pressure, ma'am.
So eventually, I will get up enough strength and nerves to actually step out into the deep with this conversation. But you know that's part of my purpose. So I need to do what I've been purposed to do, right? And since we're talking about purpose today, I just thought I would bring that up. You know, sometimes we kind of slack off when it's our purpose. Sometimes we kind of hold back when it's our purpose. And that's not what we're supposed to do. That's not what we're supposed to do. And sometimes, now listen, let me say this. And sometimes we do get the vision. And how, what do I mean? We get the beginning and the end, but it's the meantime, the developing that has to go forth. And a lot of times we don't develop, we just run. We get the vision, we see it, and we run with it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the timing of Yahweh in our lives and what that looks like. So as I sit here and think about how there's things I need to do, I'm going to go ahead and do them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay.
Because we have a purpose, right? Like you said, we were born on purpose with a purpose. And we do want to seek Yahweh for his timing. But if he gives us an idea, then we are to do it. I remember when he gave me the idea for this, and immediately one speaker was um, in my spirit or in my heart to bring, and that's Dr. Anissa Mathis. She's going to close us out, but the applied pressure deals with mind, body, and spirit, right? And so she's going to deal with the spirit part and close us out. But I knew it was something that needed to be done. He was giving it to me to do, but the timing was important. So, like you said, you get the beginning, you get the end. The end was, yeah, it's going to happen. The beginning was, this is what I need to do. But what about the middle part, the navigation, the movement, the strategy that goes along with it? You need all of that, and you must keep it in the forefront of Yahweh to seek him about it. So we finally got a month. We'll solidify dates, but there's a purpose for my life. There's a purpose for this seminar, Apply Pressure, because a lot of us, like you were saying, Prophet Leslie, we have things we're supposed to do and we know we're supposed to do it, or we are in the specific jobs and we're just doing our job. We have things that we are kind of walking in our gifting and what we're called to do, but we're kind of just walking in the gifting and doing what we're supposed to do, but we aren't doing it to the capacity that we're supposed to do it. And so, you know, that you have saved. Come on. We're doing things, but we're not doing them to the full capacity that he
Right.
expects us to walk in while we're doing it. So,
Yeah, that's good. And there's a couple of people that I think about in the Bible, but one of the ones we've been really talking about lately is Moses. And when I
mhm.
think about Moses and how he was told the beginning and the end, even though Yahweh Elohim talked to him about the middle part. He only heard the beginning and the end. So as he was going through, he kept saying, "Well, I thought you was going to do this, and I thought you was going to do that," and every time he said it, the Father was saying, "This is how I'm doing it," but he didn't hear him. I guess I can say that because he kept complaining. That's why I'm saying he didn't hear him. He was in a place where he heard the beginning and the end. And how many of us in life hear the beginning and the end? He heard that he was going into back to where he came from, which was like was not like a Egypt. It was Egypt, and his experience in Egypt. And I'm sure he began to reflect on those things. Sometimes when we see the beginning and the end, we begin to reflect on who we're not. What did he say? I'm stammerer. I'm this. I'm that. And Elohim was so mad at him. He says, I made the dumb and the deaf. Well, what are you talking about? In so many words. But we get caught up in the what we can't do. We get caught up in that in the middle time. We hear it, we're excited. And then when it's time to bring it forth, we're like, hold up, wait a minute. I can't do this. Or uh, maybe this is not for now. We get caught up in ourselves. We get caught up in what we think and not what the Father is saying. So I was thinking about him. I thought about oh, what's his name? That guy was Jonah, and how Jonah, he was told to go and deliver the people. And he was like, not, and how he tried to do everything he could not to go to Nineveh.
He had
And in the
purpose.
process, he had to end up going through, but he went through because of his own decisions.
Absolutely. So, in both of those instances, they had purpose. Now, let's look at Jonah for a minute. He was born with a purpose. He didn't know all that time what his purpose was until one day Yahweh spoke to him as this is what I need to do. But because of his past experiences,
Right.
he wanted nothing to do with the job that Yahweh had given him to do. And
Hmm.
so what he experienced was due to his own rejection of Yahweh's purpose for his life.
Yes.
And a lot of times we're going through what we're going through, we're facing, yet going through it, facing it, and questioning Yahweh, why is this happening? Why is that happening? And
Yes.
perhaps we need to sit back and take a step back and look, am I bucking up against the purpose that Yahweh has for my life? Is he telling me to do something? And because I don't agree with it, I don't think they deserve it. That's not what I want to do. That
Or
wasn't what
let
I
me
had
stop you
planned
for a
for me.
minute. Let me stop you
Okay.
for a minute. Or is it we look in the mirror and say, I can't. I don't have what it takes.
Well, that would be Moshe's issue. That would be Moshe's issue. Moshe looked at himself, which is amazing to me because of his Egyptian upbringing, Moshe was extremely intelligent.
Yes.
Moshe was a brilliant man,
Yes,
right?
he was.
And but within his ability, he picked one idiosyncrasy that he had and was like, "Yeah, you can't. You have to be talking about somebody else because I'm not a gifted speaker. I don't speak well, so I have an impediment. I have a speech impediment. So you couldn't want me to talk to the people as intelligent and as brilliant, gifted in language, gifted
Right.
in languages. We call it
13
bilingual,
languages.
different languages. We call it being bilingual. So back then he was bilingual,
Right.
um, a mathematician, no doubt, right?
And also, it said he was an elegant speaker
But
in
him looking
his
at
mindset.
himself, him looking at himself and seeing, believing that he was not worthy. Yahweh, if he wasn't worthy or capable of doing the job, Yahweh wouldn't have come to him in the first place.
Not at all.
And
But
it's
he
the
knew
same
from the
thing with
beginning
us. From
what
the
he
beginning,
put in him.
he was born for this purpose.
And what did his mother say? What did it say his mother said? She knew that he was special.
Hmm. He was a beautiful child. He was a beautiful child. She knew he was special. So Moshe was born for the purpose of Yahweh. His purpose was to deliver the children of Israel out of Egypt and transport and deliver them into the promised land. He
So
had,
think about this for a moment. We don't know what our purpose is going to be, but we know there's a purpose. He didn't know what his purpose was going to be. And when he found out what his purpose was going to be, he said, I don't think so. you know, I don't think so. And I think it's amazing how he chose to be with his people. It wasn't like he left Egypt and stumbled upon them. The word says he made a decision to be with his people. But being with his people, he did not know that it was a greater purpose than just being an Israelite.
so we got to look at our lives. What are we saying? What is Yahweh telling us to do or have set us up to do? And we're saying, I'm not qualified for that. Get somebody else to do it. Surely you talking to somebody else. You can't be speaking to me to do it. Opportunities after opportunities have been presented to us. And because we doubt our self concept, our self efficacy, and we deal with our esteem, we count ourselves out
We do.
and we begin to do what you say. We talked about competition, but the other side of that is comparison, and comparison kills. And so when we are purposed to do something, the problem we have is we look around us and begin to compare ourselves to other people,
Exactly.
other skill sets, other abilities. But if it was not in you, if you didn't have the ability and you didn't have the capabilities, then Yahweh wouldn't present it to you in the first place.
Yes. And that's so true. I'm going to use myself as an example and Leslie's lessons learned. Uh, when Alicia first started talking to me about it, I was like, I don't want nothing to do with media, social media, and I don't have nothing to say that's any different than anybody else say. And I think I'm not sure if that went on for 3 years, 2 years before I actually did it. And she called me one day and she says, "Okay, I'm gonna go on with you. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that." And I was like, "Okay." And here it is, 2 years later, a year and a half later, and we're still doing it. We're still here. But if it was my choice and the way I thought of myself, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have taken the challenge. And one day we were talking, and she was like, "All that, Leslie, people need to hear that stuff." And I was like, Not really, because of the way I thought of myself. And sometimes, I'm going to throw this in here, sometimes we don't want to do what we've been called to do because of being fearful of what others will say. And remember, you talked about that past, remembering your past, remembering things that have happened, things that you have done, and you stop yourself from doing what you've been called and qualified to do. When I say called, I'm not talking about a ministry or anything like that. I'm talking about your purpose. We have a purpose that we've been asked to do, and if we never complete it, whatever it is, your portion can never be done. Now, someone else can pick it up and do their portion, but the portion that you have that goes along with it will never be completed for the people that need it because you chose not to go forth. You know?
The lives that are to be affected. Like you said, he can always get somebody else to do it. But there was a piece that you were supposed to do the way you do it, coming from you. And I just think about, while Yahweh does have a timing, we can deter that timing.
Yes,
We can play with that timing, by not saying yes. So think about Jonah again, who
right.
who Yahweh said, "Go. I want you to speak to the people of Nineveh.
He was like, not me.
No, they don't
I
need
ain't
to
messing with
be
them.
saved. They don't need to be saved. How dare you? They did this, that, and the other. Nope. I, yeah. In my opinion, they don't even need what you want to do for them." And so he ran. I don't want to do it. He tried to get on a ship and go somewhere else. That's amazing to me.
He did.
He literally got on
Wait,
the ship and
wait.
tried
He
to
didn't
go somewhere
try.
else.
He
But
got
here's the
on
thing,
there.
because he was running from his purpose,
His assignment.
he put everybody else's life
And
in jeopardy
yeah,
while he's running from the purpose of Yahweh on his life. When he got on that boat and them being oblivious to what Jonah was doing, who he was running from, you can't run. There was remember that play out, your arms are too short to box
short
with,
box. Uh-huh.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so they are totally oblivious to what this man on their ship. He's just another person on the boat to them,
Relaxing.
huh?
Relaxing.
Chilling, just chilling. Thinking dumb. I'm just gonna put that out there, dumb. Thinking that you can
Thinking
run
he got
from,
over.
I got away. I got away. And I'm on this boat. But him running from purpose is putting everybody around him, their lives in jeopardy. Now, with us running from our purpose, whose lives could we possibly be putting in jeopardy? Whose lives could we possibly be affecting because we aren't doing what we are supposed to be doing at this specific time? Because the thing is, that which you are supposed to be doing can change
It
at
can.
different times in your
Yeah.
life. And whose lives are you affecting because you're running like Jonah was running?
Hmm. And he ran as long as he could. And then he ended up in the belly of the hell. He was like, what in the world? I repent. I'm sorry. And, but it was a process. That's the other thing. When we hinder what we're supposed to do something else, there's a process that comes along with it. People who say you got to wait for your cycle to come back around. What I'm saying is there is a process. There is something that you have to go through because now you got to mature in that area. Now you got to become an adult in that area. That area you was running from, that area you thought you were not capable of doing. And now, because of that, now the father's like, okay, so now I got to mature you because not only are you capable, I need you to know that you're capable.
That's
I need
good.
you to know.
Knowing that you have to know that you're capable. If he chose you, you're capable. If you, when he chose you, you're not capable, he has the ability
To make
to
you.
equip you to be capable. And one thing we hear Apostle say all the time is that the finger of Yahweh will not lead you where his hand will not support you.
Always, always. And what's the other one? Where there's a vision, there's provision. So a
Mhm.
lot of times we think, well, I don't have the money to do this, or I don't have what I need to make this happen. Provision. Let's go back to Moses. Moses, he said, I can't talk, I can't go. And what the Father said, use what's in your hand. He gave him what he needed. Everything we need, he gives us. And can I say that he gives it to us before we're born? When you came here, your day that you entered the earth, everything you needed was already inside of you. If
Every
we ever get a hold of that and understand that right there, everything we need has already been put inside of us. The we come into this world, the more we look at society, we look at the world and the way they do things, and we think that we don't have what it takes because we're looking at it now, not from the eyes of Elohim, but from the eyes of the world. And the world will always trip you up because you think you have to be like this. You think you have to have this. And you think it's got to be this way. And it's not at all because Yahweh's plan. And I love now, I even love that the saying, my way is not your way. My thoughts is not your thought. The plan I have for you, now that I'm understanding what that really means and I'm experiencing it. So, what does that mean? You might think it's going to work this way, and he might have a whole different plan. And when he finishes with what he's going to do to make you be totally equipped, because as you growing up, you're being equipped to do your assignment. That day Moses got there, he wasn't equipped. He was already equipped, but he didn't know it. So he went into boot camp. I call it boot camp. He went into boot camp. Not only did he learn the power of Elohim, he learned his commitment and his relationship. You know, at that point in his life, he began to learn personally his relationship with the Father. When you get into position and you understand who Yahweh is in your life, you begin to understand your purpose. And when you begin to understand your purpose, you understand that your purpose is tied into Him. Moses' purpose was tied into Elohim. Your purpose is tied into Elohim. A lot of times, people wonder around, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what it's tied in to the one that's created you, you know. So
and one thing we see, honestly, if you want to get this thing right, there's so many examples, but I love the example of Moshe that you brought up because he shows us how to do it right. And as you stated, his purpose was tied into Elohim, into the one that created him. Yahweh literally led Moshe, gave him instructions every step of the way. There was not one time that Moshe did not know what was going to be done. I want to say how it was going to be done. Um, Sometimes he did not know how, but he just knew who was leading them. He had to stop me for a minute because when he came to the Red Sea, he didn't know what was going to happen. He just saw the Red Sea. What we going to do now? And he told him to stretch forth your rod. But every step of the way, Yahweh gave him instructions. He comes to the Red Sea. What we gonna do? Stretch out your rod. There's the instructions. When they got across the Red Sea, stretch forth your rod. And and so there was always with that connection to the creator, the one
have
who
to be.
created you, comes the instructions that will allow you to live your life in his purpose on purpose. But we can't do that if we don't have the relationship to get the instructions from Yahweh. That's what I love about Moshe. We see him spending time with him. We see Moshe spending time with Yahweh and getting the instructions that he needed to be able to walk this thing out. Imagine Moshe trying to lead the children of Israel without the instructions of Yahweh. He told them at one point, "Why would you put this burden on me? This
See,
burden
several
is too
times.
much for me.
Yeah.
This is too much. They complaining. They want this. They want that. Why would you? You might as well kill me because I can't handle that." And no sooner than he said it, Yahweh gave him an instruction: gather 70 elders, bring them to me. And the same spirit that I have on you, I'm going to put that on them so that they can help you with the people. This is why we have to keep Yahweh at the forefront of our lives. This is why even if you have a purpose and you know the purpose, you can't do the purpose on your own.
You can't. You would fail. I think about another one before, but before that, one thing we have to understand, and you were saying it, Moses knew he had to lead the people out, Moshe, but he didn't know he was going to come to a Red Sea. He didn't know that he was going to have to deal with these Israelites and these other people that came along with them the way he had to. But he knew the beginning. All that was the meantime. He had to get them from A to point B or C, which was the promised land. And if we take it even further, even as he led and they saw the purpose of where they were going, and I'm not going to say they saw it because they never stopped complaining. It was never good enough for them. What happens if you have to lead a people or be a teacher of people that never get it? What
I think
happens?
you do like he does, like he did. You keep going back to Yahweh.
And
You keep
if he
going back.
didn't, they would, if at the let's go back to the Red Sea, but I do want to talk about Joseph as well. Let's go back to the Red Sea. And like you said, they got to the Red Sea. He didn't know what to do. And Elohim, Yahweh said, "Tell them that enemy they'll see no more." Now picture this. All this water in front of us, all this army coming after us. First of all, I'm sure the army wasn't as big as that many people they had with them, you know, and but they always saw being hit, always against the wall. They never saw the provision that was made. It was always something hitting against the wall. Well, now we don't have this. Now we don't have that. Moses spoke the word, not knowing what was going to happen. He obeyed. He said, "Use what's in your hand.
Mhm.
I gave you the tools." And he raised up the tool. And could you imagine standing there and seeing this sea parting?
Right, right. And got to walk through it. Imagine that. Child.
But the noise was still there. It said that the winds and everything. So if we think about, now I might be going a little left here, but I'm if we think about Peter when he got off the boat and how he began to sink because he began to see and hear what was around him, and he took his vision off the one that was leading him. Suppose Moses took his eyes off the one that was leading him.
He always trusted
Pharaoh
Yahweh.
wouldn't,
Yeah,
Pharaoh wouldn't have drowned. They would have drowned.
yeah. But the thing is that during that time of spending with Yahweh, I believe Moshe understood that if Yahweh said it, he was going to do it. And if he opened up that Red Sea, nothing was going to happen. Nothing was going to happen to him or them. He opened it up. He's going to get us through this Red Sea. So it opened up. Come on. They're like, Moses, you crazy. But behind us, we got Pharaoh and his army chasing us. So, yeah, we're going to go through this. And as soon as the last person put their foot on shore, then those water closed up and drowned uh, those soldiers, Pharaoh's army. But the thing is that the purpose or the point that you're trying to make is that our belief, our focus, no matter what, has to be on Yahweh. We can't pay attention to who's doing what's going on around us. We have to keep our focus, our eyes on Yahweh. And we have to keep our ear to Yahweh, which means we have to stay in his presence. We got to
Gotta
continue
hear
to
him.
just hear what he's saying because we want instructions step by step. And I saw someone ask a question. So, how do you know your purpose? You get your purpose from Yahweh. How do you know? You stay in his face. It's the relationship, it's the conversation. If you talk, he will talk. That's why we have Sabbath, why I appreciate Sabbath the most, because that's our time when he's in the earth with us. And let's go back to the garden. Adam was created with the purpose to till the ground, pulled Ishai out of Adam to help him with that purpose. But how did he learn about that purpose? He learned about that purpose in the seventh day when he sat down with Yahweh and learned this is what the animals are, this is what this is. Probably even taught him how to till the ground and all of that. But he learned that in his time with Yahweh. And that's what we have to do. We have to take that time with him, or else we'll be all over the place. And the other thing, the mistake that we made, and I'm going to let you go, Prophet Leslie, because this is your show. ah! Oh,
No, go ahead.
the mistake that we make is that we think our purpose is supposed to be this big grandiose thing that we're supposed to do, that's supposed to put us before people, and we're supposed to be speaking and doing these big wonderful things, and it's international, and we're across the seas and all of these things, and I'm in the Essence magazine, and I'm doing this, and I'm speaking. I'm going to the White House and I'm speaking. That is the problem, that we think that it's supposed to be this big
Right.
thing.
And it doesn't have to be.
That's not everybody's
Yeah.
purpose. Everybody's purpose is unique to the way and why Yahweh created you.
Yeah. And that's good. One of the things that Alicia always talks about is that sometimes your purpose is just clean your house. Your purpose, before you get any other purpose, start cleaning your house. Start empty. She said, even the junk drawer. There's things that you have to do. And I wish she was on here today to talk about the conference and how Elohim moved through the conference for her. She just obeyed, and there was things she didn't even know how was going to come to pass, and she's seen every bit of it come to pass. I'm gonna see if I can get her to come on next Sunday to just talk about that, because it's just so amazing. And the thing of it was, and I'm thinking about this because this just excites me every time I think about it. When you have an assignment, and Moses, he had the assignment. He had to take the people through the Red Sea. And even Yahweh, Elohim, Yahweh was working through that process. It said the moon and the fire moved behind them and separated where the enemy could not see them. Hallelujah. No matter what it looks like, he's already made a way of escape. And in that way of escape, in that way, and I hope I'm staying in guidelines here, but in that way of escape, only way you're going to see the real fullness of it is when you are in alignment with it. Moses was in alignment with it. And if we go to Jacob, not Jacob, you said Joseph. Let's think about Joseph. He didn't know what his purpose was. He saw visions of. He saw the beginning, and he kept telling them, "I had a dream." That was the beginning. He was seeing it, but he didn't know the process that he had to go to get to it. You have to understand that there's a process to every purpose. Some are easy, some are not. Some might be going through the waves, and some may not. He said, when the water comes up, it's not going to overtake you. When you're in the valley, he tells us we're not going to be consumed by the purpose.
That's good. That's good. When we look at Uzzah, he was being groomed for what he was purposed to do and didn't even know it. Now, Uzzah was being trained by his father. And here's the thing, Jacob didn't even know the purpose on Uzzah's life. But yet he was in the planning part of the purpose. He was in the preparation part of the purpose, because Jacob would have him watch over his brothers. He he just had, and then he had this innate
Under assignment.
under
He didn't
assignment.
just go.
He Right. He had this innate ability in him that they looked at him as a snitch. The first part of that story, he's out with some of his brothers, and his brothers aren't doing what they're supposed to do. They are not following their father's instructions. So he goes back and reports to the father, look, they out there just doing, foolishness. They
Isn't
not
that what the youngest always do? Tell
yeah,
on
they
us.
you're not doing what you told them to do, Dad. And then okay, so you got that down. Even his father's ability to count and store up, he gained that information and that knowledge by watching his father Jacob, and the father would send him off to see what the brothers were doing, because he knew that I can trust Usef to
They
go
were
give me a
reckless.
report and come back.
They
And
were
that's what he would
reckless.
do. The brothers, like, he get on my nerves. He a snitch. He daddy's favorite. Well, he was. He daddy's favorite and all of this. But the whole time he was being prepared for the purpose. And
Each and every
even the
one of them.
brothers trying to kill him and get rid of him was still preparation for the purpose. So
Mm.
sometimes trials and tribulations come and we think it's the devil, and the devil sitting there, I ain't got nothing to do with it. But if you want to give me credit, cool. But it really is, some of these things are preparation for the purpose in your life. What else am I saying? Some of us are already operating in the thing that will be our purpose, and it's just preparing us to slide right on in to our purpose. So
So
pay
you,
attention.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying pay attention
Pay
to what
attention.
you're already doing.
That's it. Because it's in you.
Uh-huh.
It's in you. And I was thinking to this morning, it's so funny. I was thinking about Reuben. I said Reuben was a ram in the bush. He saved him. He was like, we think about Abraham and Isaac was like, where's the lamb? And his father said, it's being prepared. And where was it? The lamb was a ram in the bush. They all had a ram in the bush. Moses' mother sent him up the stream with the sister as a ram in the bush. The what's his name? Daughter was a ram in the bush. They all had, if they looked at it with their natural eye. You talked about um, Joseph going to see about his brothers, and we could talk about David and how his father sent him to see about his brothers, and they couldn't stand him either. What do you come out here for? You all nosy and stuff like that. It's not going to always feel good in the beginning. All our the purpose that we the things that we go through in life, yes, prepares us for where we're going, and it's not always good. Who would have thought Moses living in Egypt was preparing him for the king that he would become? We would have looked at it and said, he's in Egypt, oh no, ain't no way. We would have said, Jacob, he's gone, he's a goner. Not Jacob, um, Yusuf, he's a goner. Joseph, he's a goner. He don't even stand a chance. He over there, he's in prison. Wait, how does that add up? He's in prison.
And he was in prison. So this is good. This is good. Because there was a purpose, right? How long did it take Usef to get to that purpose? His purpose was so powerful that his purpose, not only did he save nations, but he set the children of Israel up for what was going to happen for them in the future. He set them up. They already had substance, but because of Usef's position in his purpose, they end up in Goshen, a land that is comparable to the Garden of Eden. That's how plush it was. That's the vegetation it had and the fruit it had. And then they got over there and they multiplied. So let's go on and track over to Exodus 1. They flourished so, they multiplied so, being fruitful and multiplying. They multiplied so that they intimidated the Egyptians. And they had to come up with a plan, devise a plan to put them under subjection so that they could rule over them because they were afraid,
There.
they strong. It's a lot of them. And we need to do something about this unless they come up against our enemies and fight with our enemies against us.
So think
But
about it.
Yusef's purpose put them in that position. That's powerful.
Yeah, and he knew it. They was talking about daddy's dead now. Let's send somebody to tell him that daddy said so and so. He was like, y'all still on that? Um, Look, I know what my purpose was. And I knew that I'm here to be a deliverer. I ain't got nothing against y'all. What y'all meant for evil, can we talk about those that are in our lives for evil? To make us not want to do what we've been called to do? To make us think that what our purpose is really not our purpose? There will always be someone to counteract what Yahweh has called you to do. Someone to belittle you, someone to make you think you're not smart enough, someone to make you think you don't have it going on, someone to say things against you negatively because other people, all they need to do is hear something and they'll come in agreement with that negative thing. And through all that, you still have to stand and go through to get to the end of that purpose.
You know,
Healing is a part of that because healing is the children's bread. That means that hurt, that pain, that disappointment. Apostle talked about something, I think it was yesterday, with one of his videos. I think it was yesterday. No, it was Monday, one of them days, Wednesday. And he said, he was talking about how you have to forgive yourself. And that was something I had to do. When I say you have to forgive yourself, I wouldn't go forth because of things I had done, because of what people was going to say. People are put in your life to help build you. What does that mean? It doesn't always look good. It don't always feel good, but they got to do what they've been called to do.
it's all about your purpose. It's all designed to prepare you to walk in your purpose. You can prolong it, you can buck up against it, you can even mess around and miss it. The last thing that we want to do is come before Him and find out we didn't do the thing that He purposed in us to do because we let people, we let circumstances, we let situations, we let comparison, we let fear, we let our proclivities, our idiosyncrasies, what we feel are incompetencies stop us from walking or embracing our purpose. And what that really means is an insult to Yahweh our Elohim, because we are basically saying, you aren't capable to instruct me. You aren't capable of helping me. You made a mistake and you can't do what's necessary to help me with my purpose. It's an insult.
It is. We saw that with Moses. He became angry.
Very, very angry. And if you read Exodus, he was mad a lot. And
Yes,
the
he was.
anger of God was kindled. And he was wroth with either Moshe
All them Israelites.
or the Israelites.
And I
And
think it's funny. I'm gonna let you finish. I think it's funny. I I I look at the relationship between the two, Elohim and Moshe, and how they went back and forth. I laugh about how when he was up on the mountain and Elohim seen what they was doing and became heated, and he told him go back down, take care of them. And Moses talks him off the ledge, and then Moses goes down and looks at them and throws the Ten Commandments down because he's heated. So those I just laugh when I read the stories because to me they are so common
they are similar. He had the characteristics
of
of
his father.
Yahweh. But here's
Of
the
his
thing.
father.
Here's why. Here's why. And I noticed this when I was reading during our last Moedim Sabbath, and I got it. Moshe was a Levite, so that anger in him was real, and it started making me look at Yahweh. All the times he kept getting angry, and I was like, that's why he was like, yeah, dedicate them Levites to me, because I can rock with them. Because yeah, they got those same characteristics that I
Uh-huh.
have.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they cutting up stuff. They mad. They tearing up stuff. But Moshe, yeah, it's amazing that Yahweh said, "Your people."
Your people. And he was like, what you mean my people?
Like, that ain't my people.
You was the one that had me bring them out.
Your people, my people, they're your people.
I
And
love
he's
their
like, no, no, no,
relationship.
no, you can't. I'm done. I'm just finna destroy them. I'm gonna wipe them out. Look what? I'll make you a whole new nation. Don't
Look,
worry about it.
I would have said bet.
That's what I
Make
said.
a
I was
bet.
like, do your thing. Do your thing. I literally was reading that, was like, you know what? I told y'all where I said I'd have been like, no problem, gonna
Yep.
work them out. Work it out. Cause I bit for they getting on my nerves too. I'm sick of them. Wipe them out. So
Listen.
what's
If
my
he
nation gonna consist of?
listen though, if he had have allowed Yahweh to do that, would he have smoked the rock at the end?
couldn't let Yahweh do it. Even in all of that, there was still a purpose.
Purpose.
Yahweh knew what they were going to do. None of this was a surprise to him, right? He knew when Moshe came up there for them 40 days, they was going to get buck wild down in the camp. He knew that already. Right?
He knows.
He knew Aaron was going to be like, all right, bring me your gold.
That's why he left them up there so long. He said, let them do what they're going to do.
He already knew. And he was like, and this is just me. I'm not saying it's Bible. Maybe, it could be a possibility. He was like, you know what? I'm going to just wipe them out. I'm done. I'm sick of them. I'm just wipe them out to see Moshe's compassion. Let me see your heart. Let me see your
pastor.
Yeah. And he was like, you can't wipe them out. Because if you wipe them out, then you got Egypt that's going to be looking at you sideways.
They're going to say it was a setup.
You brought them out here just to kill them. You can't do that. He was like, all right, I'm going to spare him, Moshe. Then Moshe get down there and see him twerking and all this stuff. They got naked. They got bonfires going in the cast.
Yeah.
Half up there and they
partying.
They get down. They passing the red cup, all that. And he's like, what? And threw them 10 commandments and broke them, and then took them, grounded them up, put them in the water, and made them drink it. I said, Moshe ain't no joke. Moshe go hard. You hear me?
Well, you got to think about it. How did he grow? Who did he grow up with?
Listen, but here's the thing. And even Aaron had a purpose, right?
Yes.
His purpose was to be high priest. And for the longest, with Aaron's mischief, we still talking about purpose. Even Aaron had a purpose. Yeah. With Aaron's mischief, I could never understand why Yahweh still used him and made him high priest. I was like, surely, Yahweh, there's somebody else in the camp of the Levite persuasion that could have been high priest, right? Never understood it until a few weeks ago as I was reading. Moshe is talking to them as he's getting ready to depart. Yahweh's getting ready to take him home. But another reason why I love their relationship, because he never left Moshe high and dry. He never left Moshe guessing. He told him, yep, it's about your time. You about to check out of here. But go tell the people this, right? And he's talking to the people, and he reminds them of the time where he was up in the mountain with Yahweh. He was up there 40 days. They was down there doing the fool. He was saying, but I prayed for you. I interceded for you because Yahweh wanted to kill you.
Yeah.
Here's the clincher. He said, Aaron, he wanted to kill you too, but I interceded for you.
Yeah.
Why? Because he had a purpose.
Yeah.
And that put an end to all of my speculation as to why he was used and whatnot, because he had a purpose. And Moshe knew that there was a purpose. And so he interceded so that purpose could come to pass. You all have a purpose.
Have a purpose.
You might have done some things wrong, but it does not neglect or negate your purpose. You have a purpose. You might not feel that you're walking in that purpose now, but you still have a purpose. Your past doesn't stop you from having a purpose. You have a purpose.
It can hinder you, but it can't stop you. And one thing that I loved about this whole thing is that the promise was made to the great grandfather, to Abraham. And even though they did not obey, the Father still provided for them. When he was putting Eve and Adam out of the garden, he didn't just put them out. He said, I'm going to make you some clothes. He still provided for them. The promise that he's got you going through now is probably a promise that he made. Well, we know it's a promise of Abraham, but there's somebody in your family that there's been a promise that has been made that you are carrying out and you don't even know it. You don't even have an idea, an inkling. You just know you're doing something. People have been provided for in the promise, even though they didn't make it to the promise. Those Israelites, their shoes never ran out, their clothes never ran out. They were provided everything they asked for. Provision was made for them, but they never, that's a whole nother conversation, made it to the promise. They saw it.
They never made it because of their mindset, because they could not change their mindset from where they had come from
Right.
and what they had experienced, and never could fully trust Yahweh, lead them and provide for them and protect them. They never fully trusted him to lead them, instruct them, and provide for them
Why?
because they stuck in the mentality of the bondage and the things that they had been through. Whereas, even in the bondage, they still were living a plush life that
That's right.
he was providing for them. So, if he could provide it for them then, why would he bring them to the wilderness not to provide for them there? And so we have to look back and realize we might have gone through some things. We might have experienced things, but he never left us nor forsook us.
It's a
He has
promise.
been there. He's always been there. He's kept his promise. He's always been there. And if he provided for you then, he will provide for you now. He's the same Elohim yesterday, today, and forever. And if you are faithful over a few
That's what
things,
I was going to say.
he will make you ruler over much.
Yeah. You can't just live life any kind of way and expect it. Now, he reigns on the justice, the unjust. Don't get it twisted. But for you to be to have the full provision, the full fatherhood protection, you got to be in him. You've got to seek him, and you got to sit at his feet. People think just because they pray that that's enough. No, you've got to get in a position, and that's what Sabbath is for, to hear from him. Not only do you hear from him, he restores you. He gives you strength to continue on. He gives you directions. He fulfills what's in the purpose in you. He replenishes what's in you that you can go on. It's important that you understand that you can't do it without him. Why? He's the creator of you and he knows what it takes for you to fulfill that purpose. And the only thing he's doing is waiting for you to sit at his feet and get your instructions. Moses went into boot camp, sat at his feet. Not only did he get instructions, but he learned how to be a true warrior of the kingdom. He learned how to understand that there is one higher than him that he needed to have a relationship with in order to do what he's been called to do. If he did not sit at his feet, he probably would not have ever learned the purpose. So,
You got to spend time with him. You have to spend time with him.
and the
You have
amazing thing, he only asked for 24 hours.
to.
Seems like a lot because it's a Saturday, because we're used to doing everything on Saturday. He don't even want your whole Saturday. It might seem like it, but he doesn't. But he needs to talk to you. You know where I'm going, right? He says, "Come away, my beloved." He wants you to come away, seek his face while he may be found. So today, as you go through today, ponder on these things. Your purpose will always outshine the negative when you begin to operate in it. A lot of times we're sad and we're broken because we never sit at his feet to learn who we really are and why we were created for such a time as this. So I know we're at the top of the hour. I don't know if you have something else you want to say. Um,
Just don't miss your purpose. Don't miss it. Don't miss it because of you.
that's it. And that's what will stop it. You. Yahweh, we're just so happy to uh, just indulge in your word and just indulge in who you are today, too. You refreshed us even as we talked about it. You revived us. You gave us something to keep running on. Even from yesterday, you're still pouring into us today, and we say thank you. We pray for every listening ear, those that are not sure what their purpose is, that they would allow you to not be like a microwave and come in and go out, but sit long enough so that you can begin to groom them and mature them, that they would understand your purpose in their lives. That even when you put them on the potter's wheel to shape them and to mold them and to make them, they'll understand that it's with a purpose. Some purpose might look like a bowl and some might look like a vase, and just different. We all have different purposes, and in that purpose there is something that connects us, that makes us fitly joint together for the body or for the kingdom. We say thank you. We ask that it doesn't, well, we know it's not going to fall on deaf ears, because you said when your word goes forth, it will accomplish what you want it. May this word that was spoken today accomplish what you're sending it forth to do. We were just vessels to be used by you, but thank you for using us. Thank you that this word will come alive in each and every one, that they would desire to seek you, to learn more about you, that they might know the one that created them. And for this we give you praise and honor. If they don't know you in the pardon of their sins, Father, I ask that they would ask you to come into their heart, that they would ask you to forgive them, that they would forgive themselves, that they would allow you to create in them a clean heart and renew a right spirit within them. And for this, we give you praise and honor. And we say thank you for your Son that went to the cross on our behalf, that sits on the right hand of the Father on our behalf. Yeshua HaMashiach, we say thank you. And Amen, and Amen, and Amen. Until we meet again, be blessed. Um, know you have a purpose for a purpose. You were born with the purpose in you for a purpose. And understand that all he wants is for you to come before him. And when you come before him, he'll begin to unfold and reveal the things that's in you that he wants to do in you. So if you have not taken a moment to hit the like sign, to subscribe or share, please do so before you leave here today. And may the blessings of the Lord be upon you and add no sorrow. May you be a complete version of what Yahweh has called you to be. And remember, you are qualified to do the purpose of the Father. And until we meet again, we love you. And we want to say thank you so much for being here. I was going to snap, I'm not going to do it.